You're in a room with a group of people. You don't know who the sucker is. My friend, the bad news is it's you. You're the sucker. No one wants to be the sucker. Learning keeps you from being the sucker. Learning keeps people from taking advantage of you. The hard fact is that marketers rely on the vast majority of people to remain stupid. And that's why I'm going to give you a skill set to learn to help you combat this and to keep people from taking advantage of you. And that's the skill of learning to read and understand food and nutrition labels. So today I'm going to urge you to make informed decisions about nutrition by reading and, more importantly, understanding the food labels before making the purchase. And so unless you're living off the land, I think it's safe to say that you probably shop at a grocery store, at a Walmart, or an H-E-B or a Trader Joe's. And so it's important to understand and know what these food labels mean so you know exactly what is going into your body and exactly what you're buying in order to successfully meet your nutritional needs and reach your goals and to live a healthy lifestyle. Food labels are an important source of information underutilized by so many consumers. And so read your food labels to make informed decisions, specifically so that you can, number one, be aware of how much you're consuming. Number two, be aware of what you're consuming. And number three, be aware of the nutritional value of the foods that you're consuming. So I'll begin with my first main point, being aware of how much you're consuming, or the amount. And so this includes the serving size and the calorie information that you see at the top of the nutrition label. According to Laura J. Kruskal, a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and board-certified specialist in sports dietetics, approximately 108 million American adults are either obese or overweight. And she says that Americans are growing heavier by the day with no immediate trend in sight for achieving healthy body weights. The study also includes that the basic cause remains an imbalance between energy intake and energy expenditure. And so the concept is simple. To maintain body weight, it's necessary to balance the energy derived from food with the energy expended in physical activity. And so to lose weight, energy expenditure must exceed intake. And to gain weight, energy intake must exceed expenditure. And so no wonder so many Americans are overweight or obese. It's uncontroversial that portion size has significantly increased over the years in restaurants and in stores with packaged foods. Serving sizes and portions are increasing as the years go on, and this is proving with a direct correlation with the increase in obesity. In a study over portion size by David Benton, a psychology professor at Swansea University, a typical muffin in the U.S. is 333% greater than the USDA recommendations. And a serving of pasta is 480% larger than those same recommendations. This proves the previous statement that portion sizes are increasing and in turn contributing to obesity. I say this all to say that serving sizes are standardized to make it easier to compare similar foods, and they reflect the amount that people typically eat or drink. But in no way are they a recommendation of how much you should be eating and drinking to meet your specific needs. It's simply a tool to allow you to compare these foods and determine the number of calories that you're actually consuming, and just as a factor to help you reach your goals. So now moving on to my second main point, and that's being aware of the contents and what exactly you're buying. More specifically, reading the ingredients list on the nutrition and food labels. According to a survey taken by Rakshak Goyal, chief nutritionist of Synergy Hospital, 52.5% of consumers do not read the ingredients list on the food labels. The ingredients list can be used to find out whether a food or beverage contains synthetic trans fats, refined sugars and grains, and added sugars, whole grains, and more. They contain important information that can contribute to the consumer's assessment of the food's healthiness. And according to findings from discrete choice experiments by Asha Kar, a researcher at the Center on Population, her findings suggested that health and nutritional claims placed on food products have a substantial effect on dietary choices. And so what I mean by this, these are the buzzwords that manufacturers simply put on the front of their products to try to lure you into buying them. And in no way are these can you be sure that these are valid or accurate? They're simply a marketing strategy. And these fancy claims that you must look beyond include phrases like reduced sugar, low fat, zero trans fat, contains real fruit juice, natural, and more. Carr says that these have considerable potential to mislead consumers. You see made with real fruit juice quite frequently, but little do you know that there's actually no law that requires how much real fruit has to actually be in the food for the manufacturer to place that claim on the food. And so looking at the ingredients will show you the truth. When high fructose corn syrup or sugar is listed as one of the first ingredients, then you'll know that that real fruit content really isn't significant. This leads into my third and final point. Along with knowing the ingredients in a food product, it's important that you read labels to be aware of the nutritional value of the foods you're consuming. You should look for foods that contain more of the nutrients that you want more of and less of the nutrients you want less of. And so common nutrients that we typically want more of include nutrients such as vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, and more. And then the common nutrients that we typically want to limit include nutrients like sodium and saturated fats and added sugars. And so Alyssa Jung, an experienced writer and associate editor for print, says that potassium is a type of electrolyte that helps nerves function properly and helps muscles contract, and it regulates your heartbeat. And similar, fiber increases the frequency of your bowel movements, which in turn reduce your calorie intake. And then vitamin D and calcium, of course, keep your bones strong and healthy. And so these are nutrients that we should seek to consume more of. And so then that leads on to the question, how do we know? How do we regulate how much nutrients we're consuming and how much we're limiting? And so by taking the basic knowledge of the good and bad nutrients, we can use the label on the back to combine this knowledge with the percent daily value, which appears percent DV. And this shows you how much a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to the total daily diet. It also helps you determine if a serving of food is high or low in that certain nutrient. And so a general guide to navigate percent daily value is to remember that 5% is low and 20% is high. So the nutrients that we want to limit, you should look for those with 5% or less. And then the nutrients that we want to consume more of, you should look for those labeled with 20% or more on the labels. So in conclusion, reading and understanding labels allows you to benefit by being aware of how much you're consuming, what you're consuming, and the nutritional value of the foods you're consuming. This in turn fights obesity, combats the fancy claims and jargon and misinformation, and helps you meet your specific nutritional needs, all by making informed nutrition decisions and purchases. So, I urge you to take control by learning to read and understand these food labels. Don't let marketers fool you like they've done to so many. No one wants to be the sucker. No one wants to be taken advantage of, especially when it comes to something as important as your health. Thank you.